All right, welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. In my post-fight video, the Better Be of Yarde post-fight, I forgot to mention about Tunde's stoppage, so I'm going to cover that in this video. But we're also going to talk about whether or not Tunde should get fired, and I'm going to give my thoughts on that because, you know, often when a fighter loses, and, you know, Tunde's had some criticisms in the past, and this is the second world title fight, you could say, well, he's lost. And, you know, what's Yarde going to do? So I thought I'd share my thoughts on it because it's always a hot topic, isn't it? When you have a highly talented fighter or a top fighter that does lose, especially gets knocked out. You know, one of the first people to get pointed the finger at is the coach. But in all honesty, I don't think that he should fire Tunde Ajayi. I think, you know, the preparation that they did was pretty good. I will say that there are other things, I touched on it on the post-fight video, there are other things that they could have done, which I was a little bit puzzled as to why it wasn't even a thought, or wasn't even, they didn't even try to shut down Beterbiev when he, you know, got Yarde on the ropes. And that's, you know, something Beterbiev's very well known for, is, you know, dismantling high guards and mauling you, and, you know, being able to do that. And, you know, there are some things you can do. And, you know, Yarde, I mentioned it in the video, Yarde did, I saw him do it once where he had the shoulder roll, he leant in and he grabbed. That should be happening, you know, the minute Beterbiev, because you could see Beterbiev got really excited when Yarde was in the corner and he couldn't wait to get in there and go to work. That's his bread and butter. And, you know, when you have, you know, some deficiencies defensively, we're just doing this, which is fine. It actually, to be honest, it seemed like a pretty good high guard normally for most people, but Beterbiev is so good at surgically getting his punches through. It didn't seem like, you know, there was a plan for that, which to me is a little alarming. So I think you keep Tunde. I think, you know, mentally, Yarde is obviously elite. He's got an elite mentality, elite belief. But, you know, it's reinforced by Tunde and the relationship they have, and they're a happy team, you know, and that's really important going into the fight. You could see it in the build-up. They have a great relationship. You know, there's a lot of unity there, and that's really important when, you know, when you're dealing with boxing, especially at a high level. Now, the X's and O's do matter. So, you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. What if you get somebody that's good at dealing with X's and O's and can understand what to improve you on, but there's no camaraderie or there's no cohesion there? You know, what then? Because if you do leave a trainer, I guess you could always go back. It might be a bit awkward. But, you know, I would like to see Tunde improve, get Yarde to improve on certain things. It wasn't just the, you know, that lack of, it's just my opinion, of course, the lack of awareness about Beterbiev's ability to destroy a high guard. But then, you know, Yarde's jab defense leaves a lot to be desired. You know, his parrying, especially against better fighters. In the last few fights, he's been getting jabbed quite a lot. Now, Lyndon Arthur's got a very good jab. He's longer, he's taller, so that's understandable. Kovalev has had one of the best jabs in the business, also somewhat understandable. Beterbiev's got a decent jab, but he was getting caught with a jab. And I don't know whether it was his inability to range, he wasn't moving his head as much, or whether he wasn't able to parry, all of the above. There were some issues with that. You know, I've talked about the left hook as well. I'd like to see that a bit more developed, because he was making a lot of the same errors that he made in the Kovalev fight, which is 3 years ago. You know, can you imagine, like, if he ironed that out, and if he got some improvements in those areas, Yarde. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Yarde fought Beterbiev. He fought one hell of a fight. And, you know, he should be really proud of himself, because everybody else has come up short. And, you know, I would favor Yarde in any other fight outside of Bivol now. The Bivol fight's an interesting one if that ever did get made, but I'd love to see Yarde domestically. Like I said in the video, I don't want to see him go back down to C and D level. You know, he's mixed it up at world level, and he's come up slightly short on one occasion. And you know, I never really thought Yarde was gonna be able to win after the third round. To be honest, I had that feeling. I was like, he's using a lot of energy in his face. You could tell he was like, you know, Max Kellerman used to say, you know, who would you rather be? And there was like almost most rounds, although that, you know, some people had Yarde winning. I didn't score it, but like, yeah, he definitely won a few rounds. But it's also the strategy of the fight. Better be was wearing him down, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's like, who would you rather be? And you know, I think just based off the look of the Yarde's face, and his technique started to dwindle a little bit. And you know, I think you'd say you'd rather be better be of almost all the rounds, just because of their energies. And you know, Yarde did get a second win, and it was great to see. But yeah, I don't think he should get rid of Tunde, to be honest. I think you should give him he's prepared him well. He just fought a great fight, and they can be proud of themselves. The stock has risen. Okay, both of their stock has risen. People are going to want to see him again in a big fight. That'll be talked about, and they'll be ready to impress again. I would just love to see him improve on some things like his jab defense, and maybe just some more savvy tactics going forward about the opponent. Just do some film study on what your opponent's really good at, and don't let them do it. Because shutting down, you know, somebody in the corner, it's like there's sometimes you can't, if you can't do it, you can't do it, but try to do it. Try to step in more often to really, I mean, it's, you know, when fighters do that, you can tell it's part of their thought process. They're like, I'm not going to let you get off here. And Beterbiev was able to get off, and those were some differences in the fight for me. With regards to the stoppage, totally forgot to mention this in my video. I should really start making some notes, because I'm like, there's so much to talk about. There was a lot to talk about in that fight, but the stoppage, I didn't have a problem with it. You know, at the end of the day, you are dealing with an extraordinarily savage man. Okay, this is in round 8. Yarde got clipped with an overhand right. He'd taken quite a bit of punishment throughout. You know, he wasn't certainly getting absolutely beaten up so badly, but he definitely took a few shots, and he was dishing out a few shots too. He was definitely getting tired, and you know, there was a long way to go, and he caught him with that overhand right, backed him up, and then, you know, the writing was on the wall, really. And it's those moments, and it's those type of brutal fights that can get very dangerous very quickly. You know, and if we'd have looked back and you'd have said, well, he would let him go for another minute, and Beterbiev just started absolutely picking him apart, and then ended up with a brutal knockout. And then Yarde, you know, crumbles to the deck. People would go, oh, he should have stopped it before, you know. So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. But given the relationship that they had, and how much love he has for Anthony, it's I think it's the right call. You know, at the end of the day, you live to fight another day. You live to fight another day, and in all reality, it didn't really look like, you know, if that situation happened 100 times, that Yarde would make it out of that situation, given what we know about Beterbiev and his ability to finish, and his savageness, and his durability, and his, you know, all of the above. It makes no sense keeping him in there, to be honest. It really makes no sense. So I didn't have a problem with it, and I think, you know, it's one of those timings that was like, that was just the right time, you know, just the right time. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think the stoppage was wrong? Do you think Tunde should get rid of, and do you think Anthony Yarde should get rid of Tunde? I don't think he should. I don't think he's going to. As I said, I would love to see some improvements, absolutely, on his jab defense, and, you know, that left hook. But look, that's it from me. I hope everyone's doing well. Have a great week. Boxing on the Edge. I will see you soon.